Hello guys and welcome to a brand new video. So today you jump for a different kind of video. We are discussing Leicester City. That is right, as you all know, I support Leicester City, and right now we are all Leicester fans going through some massive changes at the club. So in today's video I'm going to be talking about what needs to change, what needs to happen, and why we're in this awful mess. Alright, so like today video, man, hit that like button, subscribe if you're not already, and without further ado, let's begin with, I've got so many points to get through today, so sit back, relax if you're a Leicester fan, and I hope this sinks into you, and I hope you guys can join me in the comments section and just have a debate with me in the comments. So let me down below in the comments what you think of my points, okay? So, I'm going to start off with the least concerned, okay, least concerning thing about the club right now. So the players, for example, the players, that's where we will start. Right now we have players in the squad that, let's be real, do not want to play for Leicester, okay? They do not want to play for Leicester, and the fact we are in the Championship and we are giving all these players a massive amount of money, okay? So we've got players in the squad, you know, we've got players in the squad like Harry Winks, okay? I love Harry Winks. I love him, you know, such a fantastic player. Like, obviously, the first season for Leicester, we won the Championship, and he looked absolutely fantastic. In my you know, no doubt, best player in that season, all right? But he is on 90,000 a week, okay? For the Championship level, that is hefty, okay? So yes, last time we were in the Championship, we have Vardy as well, 140,000. So again, a massive issue. You know, Vardy's a legend, guys. Vardy is a club legend. You know, it'll go down in history as the best player we've ever had. But 140,000 in the Championship is a lot, okay? So yes, we've got players like Harry Winks, we've got Daka, who we signed as a kind of replacement for Vardy when he does decide to leave. But that has not worked out for Daka either. So he's on 65,000 a week. So I won't go too much detail, but, you know, we've got players who are on hefty money, but we also have players who do not want to play for the club. So we've got we've got Jordan Ayew, for example. Good on his day, don't get enough goals in either. You know, don't get enough goals, and the fact he is leading the line for Leicester this season is shambolic, okay? You know, that's only free agents we could have signed before the season, but we did not do that. Ayew, you know, he does try, but in the last month or so, he has been absolutely awful, okay? Yeah, we've got Jordan Ayew in the squad. We've got Bobby Reid, you know, who's also deadwood. What needs to happen now is we need to get rid of all the players who are deadwood to the squad. So you got like Ayew, Decordia Reid, okay? Winks will need to go. Mavididi, unfortunately, Mavididi is a fantastic player, but he has not looked himself this year. In my opinion, what needs to happen now is we need to play the academy players. Yes, I know it is risky, but they are the future of this football club, okay? You got the likes of Michael Golding coming in. Where the hell has he been? We signed him for £5 million from Chelsea. Nowhere to be seen, okay? Sammy Braybrook, again, bossing it for Chesterfield right now. Will Alves, good player, but is very injury prone. But like I say, guys, our academy is no doubt one of the best academies in Europe. In my opinion, we've got such a fantastic academy. We've got Jerry Monga, 16 years old, Michael Golding, Jake Evans, who's also out on loan, fantastic player. You know, Ben Nelson coming into the ranks, fantastic. You know, it's now time to play the youngsters, okay? Get rid of all the deadwood in this squad. So that is one point I will make. Get rid of deadwood, okay? So, next, we shall go on the managers, okay? So, let's be real, man. Since Brendan Rodgers, it has all gone downhill. Yes, Rodgers, in my opinion, is where it all started to go wrong. A lot of stuff behind the scenes, like wanting players and stuff like that. But anyway, I won't go on to Rodgers because he didn't do anything wrong to Leicester. But obviously, we went down from the Premier League that season with Rodgers. Yes, and you know, it shouldn't have happened, but it did happen. We brought in Enzo Maresca, who in my opinion is one of the best managers we have had in a long, long time. You know, the way we come up to the Premier League again after that season, fantastic manager, but the fact he left us after 1 year, you know, he said, you know, it's going to be a 5-year contract to get the team playing how he wants to play, okay? And, you know, he left 1 season. And then we brought in Steve Cooper. Steve Cooper, you know what? I like the guy. I love the guy. You know, I think he's such a down-to-earth guy. But again, Forest fan, Forest manager, did not work out, okay? And, you know, with Van Nistelrooy, in my opinion, was a massive, massive risk. It also, you know, all massive risk with Van Nistelrooy. No experience as manager. Okay, then we signed Martis Fuentes. Alright. And in my opinion, he was not the right man for the job. From day one, I said that because yeah, he managed QPR, and QPR were a mid-table club with him as well. Okay, and look where we are when he got sacked. Okay, so now we've brought in. Obviously, we had Andy King for a couple of games, and in my opinion, I think Leicester were looking at trying to get him on the cheap, so they didn't have to sign any manager. I think they wanted King to do well, but again, King is a Leicester legend, so the fact his reputation was on the line because of Leicester's stupidity, it was awful. And then we signed Gary Rowett. In my opinion, I think it is what Leicester need right now. Leicester need a manager, okay? Leicester need a manager who's going to be strict with the players, because obviously when Martin Fuentes left, a lot of players weren't playing to their best, okay? Gary Rowett comes in, you know, he's quite a feisty man, you know, he wants the best out of the players. And the way that, you know, with this Leicester City squad, that is what they need, because, you know, Leicester City, man, should not be where they are in the Premier League, in the Championship, okay? You know, they should not be where they are in the Championship. 1 place from bottom. With the players Leicester City have, you know, it's a massive ego thing. You know, it's a massive ego thing. Before the start of the season, one of our players, Maradidi, put online, get your popcorn ready for this season, okay? And look where that got us. Look where the hell that got us. We are literally sitting dead bottom now. Yeah, so again, Rowett guy is a manager who will get the players working for him, alright? And that is what the players need, because we have so many players who do not want to play for the club right now, but we can't afford to not play them, you know what I mean? You know, we can't afford not to play them, because they're getting paid, you know, at least 50,000 a week, alright? And, you know, yeah, it's a lot of money, guys. And that's the second point I will make. The managers have not been great, alright? You know, we've been here, there, and everywhere with managers. In the last, you know, one and a half years, we have signed 4 managers, and again, that is a big issue, alright? Anyway, that's another point. We've got the players, the managers. Now we're going to get on to the chairman. So, right, top. You know, unfortunate events, guys. You know what happened with Top. You know, his father died in a horrible plane accident, you know. Obviously, Vichai, you know, Top had a massive job to do, and, you know, taking over as chairman. You know, I appreciate that. You know, I do appreciate that, because obviously he did not expect to take over from the club so soon. Right? Obviously, Vichai was going to be here forever, man. You know, he was going to work this club. You know, he was going to get this club where he wants them to be, because Vichai was a top chairman. But anyway, we'll get on to Top right now, because Vichai is not the problem. It was Top. Okay, so since Top has took over, you know, a lot of things have happened, alright? So, I'm going to read some bits out right now, okay, that are absolutely shocking. So, if Leicester, right, get relegated to the League One this season, they will lose a massive, obviously now they get £7 million. If they go down to League One, they'll go down to £1 million, okay? So that is a massive £6 million deduction in profit. That is right. So Leicester's financial problems right now are a massive issue. Going down to the League One will see us drop a massive £6 million in profit, obviously due to turnstiles, obviously the fans, all the sponsorship, all the TV deals and stuff like that, okay? And yes, so right now Leicester in a massive situation with financial problems, okay? So that is awful. If that happens, that is awful. Get into League One, that is the worst case scenario. You know, staying in the Championship this season is an essential thing that needs to happen. You know, Leicester cannot get relegated this season, because that would be, you know, if we go down, guys, that will really, scare the hell out of us, because, like, you know, we are so close to liquidation. You know, in my opinion, we are very, very close to liquidation. And you know, but anyway, we'll move on to something else that I need to show you guys and tell you guys. So right now I've got a stat on my piece of paper here, okay? So I'll read it out to you. Leicester credit risk is down from 62% to 31%. This means they have moved from below average risk to above average risk, okay? So guys, that means we have literally, our credit score is down from 30%, okay? And that is all, you know, really, really bad. Really, really, really bad, okay? We are down, guys. We're now below average risk, okay? And that means we are super, super close to having an awful credit risk. And, you know, we could face more charges, more things to this club, all right? So, the next part I want to talk about is the sponsorships of this Leicester City club, all right? So, as you all know, we are sponsored by B.C Games, okay? Some gambling, betting scenario place. I do not have a clue, but guess what? It is banned here in the UK, so it's only around in Asia, okay? And obviously King Power is where that is, okay? King Power is Leicester's ownership with Top, okay? So yeah, so B.C Games, or whatever it's called, you know, what an awful sponsorship, by the way. They even paid for their own advertisement of Leicester City's announcement video of being sponsored by them. That is right, guys. B.C Games, they paid Twitter, X as you want to call it, an advertisement to get more views on that single post. So that is just iffy. That is just wrong in all sorts, okay? And BC.game, man. That's what I've got to say. It's useless, and that's another part of the problem, okay? It's banned here in the UK, and we all know that Leicester City are an English club, so that's what I'm going to go on that one right there. So, again, that's another thing that Top and the ownership have done completely wrong, okay? So that is another reason Top needs to go. As you all know, Leicester right now have got -6 deduction in points in the Championship. That's for breaching PSR rules, profit sustainability rules, okay? And again, that's another issue that we have. We are so close, like I said, to being liquidated. Yeah. Guys, it is essential. Let's stay up in the Championship. It is essential to stay up this season. Yeah, so right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about another situation. So Top had an interview, okay, discussing the things that he wants to do. You know, he was saying Leicester City is his son, and he wants to, you know, he does not want to give up on his son. Okay, and looking at it like that, you know, it is kind of weird saying that, because the way he has treated Leicester City recently, it has been awful. Okay, but to be fair, Top is to blame and the ownership, guys. But I do have one more person that I do despise at this football club. That is right. So I'll get onto it right now. So the person I despise is the Chief Director of Football, John Rudkin. That is right, John Rudkin. I don't know where to start with this geezer. So Top, obviously Rudkin, guys, is Top's bunny rabbit. Okay, everything goes through Rudkin. Okay, and goes through Top. In my opinion, in a recent interview, Top said Rudkin was take a step back in this business to provide new, fresh ideas, okay? But what has he gone and done? He has literally promoted him from sporting director to chief director of football club. That is right. So now John Rudkin has an even bigger job at this football club, and the amount of things John Rudkin has done right, I can go on for hours, guys. He has signing players on hefty price tags, splashing out on enormous wage bills, signed the wrong players, doesn't communicate with us Leicester City fans, okay? That's another big issue that I have with John Rudkin. He's hiding behind his bunny rabbit top, that is right. So then you got players, wages, and a lot of players that even calling John Rudkin out. I won't go into detail, but Vardy's one of them. Where I don't think Vardy liked Rudkin. Yeah, he said it in a recent interview kind of thing, and that's a club legend saying that, by the way, club legend, and John Rudkin, guys, in my opinion, he needs to go. Alright, Top and Rudkin both need to just get out of this football club, because Rudkin is single-handedly ruining this football club. That is right, he is ruining this football club, guys. And I thought Top realised in a recent interview, he said, Rudkin will take a bit of a step back to bring in new, fresh ideas, and that is not the way it has gone. It is giving a promotion, and everything, guys, go through John Rudkin, and the way the club has been run recently, he will run this club into the ground, okay? He will run this club into the ground, and I do not like him. I do not like, a lot of Leicester fans as well do not like him, so a massive issue right there with John bloody Rudkin and Top. Right now, I'm going to read another statement out, okay? The club have recently done a refresh. I just spoke to you about, changing things up in the backroom staff, okay? So now they have changed some new things around this club, okay? Obviously, they promoted John Rudkin to chief director, and recently they've announced a new guy called James McCarron, okay? He is from Man City. I thought he looked quite decent at first, obviously working for Man City, but let me just read these things out. So remember, guys, what I said to you earlier, the money issues Leicester have right now, and all the losses Leicester have made, in recent times. So listen to this. He was at Belgium second division club Le Mans SK, who are now suffering a net loss of €20.5 million after 3 years at the club being mismanaged by James McCarron. That is right, guys. So so you heard that right, man. You heard that right. James McCarron, whatever his name is, will fit in perfectly with this Leicester City squad. You obviously got John Rudkin, who is running this club into the ground. Top, who has no idea how much trouble he's put Leicester in. And now we have a guy who has put our smaller club in €20.5 million in debt. So this guy will fit in well with Leicester. Again, that's another reason, that is down to probably Top and to John Rudkin. They've not done their research on this geezer either. And that's another issue right there. So let that sink in. So right now, I'm going to talk about one more thing that should not have happened. So before I get started, guys, James McCarron is now the sporting director of Leicester City. So that means he is now where John Rudkin was for many years. But again, now everything now goes through John Rudkin even more now. But anyway, I'm going to talk about one more thing before I get on to the main, the ending of this video. I'm now going to talk about one of the worst decisions they have ever made at this club, alright? So, Leicester, obviously, Leicester have got £180 million training facility. That is right, called Seagrave. £180 million, okay? And having that in a championship club, and maybe even League One, that is going to bankruptcy is going, that is going to literally hurt Leicester financially, and Top will have no choice but to sell the club. That is right. Obviously, King Power, who is Top's company, they are going through a massive change as well. They have lost so much money. So this Seagrave training facility is going to put the nail in the coffin, in my opinion. £180 million to build, and the amount of, it's one of the best in Europe, guys. It's one of the best, if not in the world. It's one of the best. It's such a nice place. But Leicester having this in League One could really, really hurt the club. And but again, they will not get rid of it. It costs too much money to get rid of it. An ex-Leicester player made a massive point about this Seagrave fertility place, training facility. He said the players are treating it like a rehab and a holiday camp. That is right. So that is an ex-Leicester City player who played at Seagrave, training there, during the Premier League seasons. But yeah, he said it is like being on holiday and a rehab place where they can just do what the hell they like. And, that's another issue. The players are too relaxed. And having this in League One, it is unbelievable. It is unbelievable. Okay, so, guys, I've spoke about a lot of things in this video. I mean, there's so much more that I want to get on. But this video is already nearly half an hour long. So I don't want to bore you guys too much with this in-depth detail about Leicester City. But before I do go on to this last bit, I want you to write in the comments, are you Top out? Are you the King Power out? I agree with all of these parades, all these protests going on recently before the matches. Sometimes I'm against it because obviously right now we need everyone together. We need all the Leicester fans and everyone together as a team to get out of this awful mess, okay? But then I agree with the protests, parades, trying to get King Power out, which is Top's company, okay? Our chairman's company. A change is needed. You unite for change. That is the protests. And you know what? I do agree with it in some parts, but then, it's one of them things. But Top needs to go. Rudkin needs to go. King Power needs to go. It is now time for a fresh start at this Leicester City Football Club. Because, guys, if we go down to League One, right, I put money on it. Leicester will not be around much longer. I've got to say, Leicester will not be around much longer. It is going to be an awful ride if we go down to League One. And, the worst is yet to come. I do think as well, we'll get more deductions added on because the way Leicester have been run the last 4 years, 5 years, not been good. And Top needs to realise that a time is to change, okay? And I get it, it's been part of his dad's life, Vichar, it's been part of his life as well. But, on his own, he's struggling, and that's, guys, I don't want to just diss Top because, what he has been through with his dad and the way he had to take on this football club, it's a massive, massive job to take over. But he needs to realise something needs to change, and that change is for him to walk away from this football club and let us rebuild and start again. But anyway, I'm going to talk about 3 more things before I get going. That is the future of this club. So where do we go from here, guys? Let me know down below in the comments, what is the future of this football club? We literally spoke about it, guys, all this video. What the future of this club is. We need to get rid of Top, restart, start all over again, get our academy players in who have been bored, who are in the academy, because Leicester, guys, have a fantastic academy, and we can compete. Leicester have such a fantastic academy, and that is the new step. Get rid of all the dead wood players who don't want to play for the club, bring in all the youngsters, 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old players, and let's just start again. Don't buy anyone for a couple of seasons. Just literally bring in the youngsters. Try and get them, if we do stay up, then it's time to bring them in, Let them save this football club. Yes, it's a massive risk, okay? Massive risk. But the academy players know what it is like to fight for this football club. The Deadwood players are just here for a massive paycheck. And the academy players know what it's like to fight for this club. So, bring them in next season, even if it's in League One. You know, bring them in next season. Let us just start from the bottom, you know, start from the bottom, work our way up again. Just play all the youngsters, get rid of all the Deadwood, and we'll see where that takes us. Because, yeah, it's a massive risk, guys. Massive risk with these youngsters. But that is the future of this football club. The academy product players. You know, our academy is such a fantastic academy. Monga, Michael Golding, Braybrook, Motsy, who looks fantastic. You know, Mike Evans. Our academy is stacked. Okay, and time to play them. What needs to happen? We just spoke about it. Okay. A change in ownership, a change in sponsorship deal, because our sponsorship deals have been awful the last couple of years. FBS as well. So get rid of all the awful sponsorship. Bring back our old sponsors, Walker's Crisp. That's what needs to happen. Top. Like I say, sell the club, get rid of our director of football, John Rudkin. Them two guys, them two things are the most important things. Chairman, gone. And the director of football, John Rudkin, needs to go as well. If you get rid of them two guys, the club will be in a much better place, in my opinion. Anyway, guys, if you agree with any of my points in this video, please let me know down below in the comments section. You know, I've tried to break down a few things of this video, and if you want a part 2 to this video where I go through more details, let me know down below in the comments. And yeah, let's have a debate in the comments section, man. What do you think this club, you know, what needs to happen to this football club? Let me know down below in the comments, guys. But anyway, thank you for today's video, guys. I'll see you guys next week for a brand new one. Good, and good night.